My name is Lily, and when I was 15 years old, my entire understanding of life, death, and suffering changed forever. Before that moment, my life seemed simple, normal, and carefree, filled with school, friendships, laughter, and family. Like most young people, I rarely thought deeply about life's toughest questions. I didn't understand suffering beyond small disappointments or minor setbacks. That changed the night I died. It happened suddenly, without warning. My family was driving home from visiting relatives late one evening. The road was dark and quiet, and I remember feeling drowsy, resting my head against the window. Suddenly, headlights flashed brightly, and before anyone could react, another car slammed directly into ours. In an instant, my vision went black. I felt no pain, only a peaceful, weightless sensation, an indescribable calm. I gently drifted upward, strangely aware that I had left my body behind. Looking down, I saw paramedics and strangers desperately working to save my life, but I knew clearly I had died. Yet, I wasn't afraid. Instead, I was comforted by an overwhelming feeling of peace, a warmth and love I can't fully describe in words. I ascended further upward into a brilliant light, radiant and comforting, completely filling my soul with warmth, peace, and indescribable love. As I entered this beautiful place, a figure approached me. His presence radiated compassion, kindness, authority, and infinite love. Instantly, I recognized him. It was Jesus Christ. Standing before him, I felt fully known and completely loved, more deeply than I'd ever imagined possible. As I stood before Jesus, feeling deeply safe and loved, a burning question filled my heart, something I'd thought about many times but never fully understood. It was a question that troubled many people deeply, including myself. Gathering my courage, I finally asked him clearly, "Jesus, why is there so much suffering in the world?" He looked at me with eyes filled with deep compassion and understanding, gently answering my question clearly, compassionately, and patiently. "Lily, this question troubles many hearts. To truly understand why suffering exists, we must first understand clearly humanity's journey and the freedom of choice that shapes your world." Jesus gently explained to me that God created humanity in love, freedom, and perfect peace. Initially, humanity lived without pain, suffering, or sorrow, existing in perfect harmony with God, each other, and nature. However, God gifted humanity with something profoundly beautiful yet deeply impactful: free will, the freedom to make choices, to love genuinely, or to reject love, compassion, and unity. He gently emphasized that genuine love and authentic connection required freedom. Real love couldn't exist without choice. Unfortunately, humanity often misused this freedom, choosing pride, selfishness, greed, and cruelty instead of compassion, unity, love, and humility. The suffering we experience today, he explained gently, is deeply connected to humanity's collective misuse of freedom, choices motivated by selfishness, pride, greed, and separation from God's original intentions. As he spoke, he showed me clearly how many forms of suffering, war, violence, injustice, hatred, abuse, were direct results of human choices, deeply disconnected from compassion, humility, and spiritual truth. Humanity's suffering, though deeply heartbreaking, wasn't arbitrary punishment from God. It was often the natural consequence of human choices made apart from genuine spiritual connection and compassion. Yet, he continued lovingly, there was also suffering unrelated directly to personal choices, natural disasters, sickness, or tragedies affecting innocent people. With infinite gentleness, he explained clearly that humanity's original rejection of spiritual connection with God profoundly impacted the entire natural world. Humanity's spiritual choices profoundly affected creation itself, creating imbalance, brokenness, and imperfection within nature and human life itself. Jesus lovingly explained that this was never God's desire or original plan for humanity. Instead, it reflected humanity's collective separation from spiritual truth, unity, compassion, and authentic love. Yet even amidst suffering, God continually sought to lovingly reconnect humanity with spiritual truth, compassion, and lasting peace. Hearing his gentle explanation, I began to understand more clearly that suffering wasn't meaningless or random. Although deeply painful, it often served powerful, meaningful spiritual purposes, awakening individuals and societies toward deeper compassion, humility, connection, and genuine spiritual truth. Jesus gently emphasized that even humanity's most painful experiences could ultimately become opportunities for profound spiritual growth, compassion, and genuine transformation. Suffering, though heartbreaking, often inspired individuals and communities toward deeper kindness, humility, selflessness, and authentic human connection. As he spoke these words, scenes appeared clearly before me. Ordinary people experiencing deep suffering, yet responding with extraordinary compassion, generosity, bravery, and spiritual awakening. Communities coming together powerfully in love, kindness, and support during natural disasters, tragedies, or times of injustice. Individuals courageously confronting suffering with humility, forgiveness, and inspiring compassion toward others. Jesus gently explained that while humanity's suffering was never God's original intention or desire, he compassionately used it powerfully to inspire humanity toward spiritual awakening, deeper compassion, meaningful relationships, and profound spiritual transformation. Standing in his comforting presence, my heart began understanding clearly. Suffering, though profoundly heartbreaking, wasn't meaningless or hopeless. Rather, it contained within it powerful opportunities for genuine spiritual growth, compassion, and authentic human connection. It was an invitation toward deeper love, humility, selflessness, and ultimately, toward spiritual truth itself. As Jesus continued explaining to me the deep mystery of suffering, I felt profoundly comforted, yet deeply moved. His compassion was indescribable, his patience infinite. Standing in his gentle presence, I asked him another heartfelt question. Jesus, if suffering has a deeper purpose, does that mean you allow suffering intentionally? Do you ever intervene to prevent suffering? He gently responded, clearly and compassionately, Lily, suffering is never my desire. I deeply love every soul and feel every hurt, sorrow, and tear experienced by humanity. Yet my love respects the freedom I've gifted humanity, the freedom to choose love, compassion, and unity, or to choose separation, pride, and selfishness. To remove humanity's freedom would mean removing genuine love, authentic relationships, and meaningful connection. He showed me clearly how deeply he mourned alongside humanity during times of pain, tragedy, and suffering. I saw visions of Jesus comforting grieving families, holding broken hearts, quietly comforting children affected by war, poverty, or injustice. I realized deeply Jesus didn't stand distant from human pain. He experienced and shared humanity's suffering fully, intimately, and compassionately. He then explained clearly that even amidst human freedom, God often intervened miraculously, lovingly limiting suffering's severity, protecting countless souls, or offering miraculous comfort, healing, and redemption during difficult experiences. He showed me clearly how, throughout history, God continually protected individuals, communities, and entire nations, often preventing greater tragedies, suffering, and pain, quietly intervening through miracles often unnoticed by humanity. Jesus gently emphasized that humanity often focused clearly on the suffering experienced, rarely aware of countless miracles, quietly preventing or lessening tragedy worldwide each day. He compassionately explained clearly that humanity's perspective was naturally limited. People often saw only suffering's immediate pain or loss, unable to recognize deeper spiritual purposes or countless hidden miracles of compassion, comfort, and protection occurring constantly. He gently assured me, though suffering occurs, my compassionate presence remains powerfully available. Anyone sincerely seeking comfort, protection, or spiritual clarity during difficult experiences will find me abundantly near, offering profound peace, healing, and clarity, even amidst pain. Jesus then revealed something incredibly powerful, how suffering, despite its pain, often transformed ordinary people into extraordinary sources of compassion, courage, and genuine spiritual awakening. He showed me countless examples vividly. Families who, after tragic losses, courageously transformed pain into compassionate advocacy, helping thousands of others experiencing similar grief. Communities powerfully uniting after natural disasters or tragedies, demonstrating unprecedented generosity, kindness, and selflessness toward neighbors. Individuals experiencing illness, pain, or suffering and becoming profoundly compassionate, empathetic, and deeply spiritually aware, offering incredible comfort, healing, and courage to countless others. I understood clearly, while God didn't cause suffering, He compassionately transformed even the darkest experiences into powerful opportunities for spiritual awakening, unity, and profound compassion. Jesus gently reminded me clearly, Lily, suffering deeply impacts human hearts. Yet those who choose compassion, forgiveness, and genuine spiritual clarity during suffering become powerful lights, sources of incredible hope, transformation, and comfort for countless others experiencing pain. I asked Jesus clearly about innocent suffering, children experiencing sickness, poverty, or tragedy who hadn't personally chosen anything causing their pain. He gently responded compassionately, carefully explaining, "Innocent suffering deeply breaks my heart. Children experiencing pain or injustice do not suffer because of personal fault or wrongdoing, but often due to humanity's collective brokenness, selfishness, and separation from compassion, love, and spiritual truth. Though deeply heartbreaking, even innocent suffering becomes powerful invitations toward collective awakening, compassion, moral responsibility, and genuine spiritual transformation for humanity." Jesus gently assured me He held each innocent sufferer tenderly, offering profound spiritual comfort, peace, and abundant eternal rewards. He compassionately reminded me clearly that human life wasn't limited merely to earthly experiences. Every innocent sufferer, every grieving soul, and every child experiencing tragedy would experience eternal peace, perfect healing, infinite comfort, and everlasting joy beyond earthly pain. He gently reminded me clearly, "Humanity sees only partially, but I see fully. Every innocent soul experiencing suffering will experience perfect restoration, infinite comfort, everlasting peace, and joyful reunion in eternity, fully restored beyond earthly understanding." Standing in His comforting presence, I deeply understood suffering wasn't meaningless or final. Though profoundly heartbreaking, it carried profound spiritual purposes, awakening humanity toward compassion, moral responsibility, humility, spiritual truth, and genuine unity. I then asked Jesus another heartfelt question. Why do some people experience so much more suffering than others? It often seems unfair. He compassionately responded, gently explaining, "Humanity sees suffering unevenly distributed because your world reflects profound spiritual brokenness, imbalance, and separation from original intentions, and much suffering occurs due to humanity's collective injustice, greed, selfishness, and unwillingness to embrace compassion, equality, and genuine spiritual unity. Yet, even those experiencing greater suffering receive profound opportunities for deeper spiritual awakening, compassion, courage, and incredible eternal rewards." He gently emphasized that individuals experiencing greater suffering often profoundly influenced humanity toward compassion, moral awakening, courage, and genuine spiritual unity. He lovingly assured me those experiencing greater suffering receive profound eternal comfort, peace, and rewards far beyond their earthly pain. Nothing experienced on earth, even deep pain or tragedy, goes unnoticed or unrewarded eternally. Every moment of pain is eternally transformed into infinite joy, restoration, and perfect peace beyond human understanding. Standing before Jesus, my heart overflowed with profound comfort and gratitude. Though His words revealed humanity's painful realities, they powerfully demonstrated infinite compassion, eternal restoration, and profound spiritual purposes underlying even suffering's deepest mysteries. I understood clearly, suffering, though painful, profoundly inspired humanity toward compassion, moral awakening, spiritual unity, and profound eternal rewards beyond earthly understanding. God's compassionate presence remained abundantly available during suffering, eternally comforting innocent sufferers, grieving hearts, and broken souls. My heart understood clearly, humanity's suffering wasn't meaningless or hopeless. It ultimately revealed profound spiritual truths, awakening countless souls toward infinite compassion, eternal peace, and genuine spiritual connection with God's unconditional love. As Jesus continued lovingly sharing with me these profound truths about suffering, my understanding deepened immensely. Standing in His gentle presence, I asked another sincere and heartfelt question. Lord, why does suffering often cause the people to doubt your existence or your goodness? Jesus gently looked into my eyes, filled with infinite compassion and understanding, and replied clearly, "Lily, suffering often leads people to doubt my existence or goodness because human hearts naturally question why a loving God would allow pain, loss, or tragedy. People often misunderstand suffering as punishment, abandonment, or proof of my absence. Yet the truth is quite the opposite. I am intimately near to those who suffer, quietly offering infinite comfort, peace, clarity, and eternal restoration beyond earthly understanding." He compassionately explained how suffering was often misunderstood by humanity, viewed wrongly as rejection or abandonment from God. Yet he emphasized clearly that suffering, despite human misunderstanding, powerfully demonstrated humanity's deep need for genuine spiritual connection, compassion, forgiveness, and eternal restoration. Jesus lovingly showed me countless examples. Individuals deeply questioning God's goodness during tragedy or loss, later experiencing profound personal encounters with His compassion, comfort, and clarity. He revealed clearly how many souls initially doubting or rejecting Him due to suffering eventually experienced powerful personal spiritual awakenings, profound compassion, and genuine spiritual transformation. He gently assured me, even those deeply questioning my existence or goodness due to suffering will always find genuine answers of profound compassion, infinite comfort, and powerful spiritual transformation if they sincerely seek me. My love patiently waits to heal doubts, comfort broken hearts, and restore souls toward genuine spiritual clarity, eternal peace, and authentic relationship. He then explained clearly something remarkably powerful. Suffering, though deeply challenging, often created profound spiritual seekers, individuals passionately seeking deeper meaning, genuine spiritual connection, and eternal truths. He gently revealed clearly that countless souls deeply questioning God's existence or goodness due to suffering often became powerful spiritual advocates, individuals courageously sharing profound truths, genuine compassion, and eternal hope with others experiencing similar doubts, fears, or confusion. Listening carefully, I deeply understood that even humanity's doubts, confusion, and pain due to suffering profoundly served compassionate spiritual purposes, awakening countless hearts toward deeper spiritual connection, genuine compassion, and profound eternal truths. I asked Jesus another sincere question. "Lord, how should we respond compassionately to others experiencing suffering?" His eyes gently filled with infinite compassion as he lovingly replied clearly, "Lily, the most important response toward suffering is authentic compassion, genuine empathy, patience, humility, and selfless love toward those hurting. Humanity often mistakenly responds to suffering with avoidance, fear, or empty platitudes. Yet genuine compassion involves humbly entering into another's pain, quietly offering authentic presence, patient listening, sincere empathy, and practical support." He showed me clearly vivid examples of compassionate responses toward suffering. Individuals courageously comforting grieving families, communities generously supporting those experiencing tragedy or loss, neighbors patiently listening and offering heartfelt compassion to hurting souls, quietly demonstrating genuine love through practical care, patient listening, and authentic empathy. Jesus gently emphasized clearly that humanity's response towards suffering profoundly influenced spiritual outcomes. Compassionate responses deeply encouraged healing, unity, reconciliation, and profound spiritual awakening. Conversely, avoidance or cold responses towards suffering often intensified loneliness, confusion, or spiritual pain experienced by hurting individuals. He lovingly reminded me clearly, genuine compassion heals suffering's deepest wounds. Even quiet acts of sincere kindness, patient listening, and practical care profoundly transform hurting hearts, gently guiding souls toward authentic healing, genuine spiritual connection, and eternal restoration. I then sincerely asked Jesus another heartfelt question. "Lord, why does suffering sometimes lead people toward anger, bitterness, or hatred, while others experience profound compassion, humility, and spiritual awakening?" He compassionately replied, gently explaining, "Suffering profoundly impacts human hearts. Each soul experiencing pain ultimately chooses their response: anger, bitterness, or compassion, humility, and spiritual growth. Souls responding with anger, bitterness, or hatred often become trapped within deeper pain, spiritual confusion, or isolation. Conversely, souls choosing humility, compassion, and genuine spiritual clarity during suffering profoundly experience transformation, becoming powerful sources of inspiration, courage, and spiritual awakening for others. Jesus lovingly showed me vividly examples clearly contrasting responses toward suffering. Individuals choosing bitterness or hatred, becoming trapped within deeper isolation, confusion, or pain, versus individuals choosing compassion, forgiveness, and spiritual awakening, becoming profound sources of comfort, inspiration, and healing for countless others. He gently reminded me clearly, "Lily, though suffering deeply impacts human hearts, each individual ultimately chooses their response. Choosing genuine compassion, forgiveness, humility, and spiritual connection during suffering profoundly heals hearts, transforms pain, and eternally restores souls toward infinite peace, genuine joy, and eternal rewards beyond earthly understanding." Standing before Jesus, my heart deeply understood that humanity's responses toward suffering profoundly shaped spiritual outcomes. Even deep suffering profoundly offered powerful opportunities for genuine compassion, humility, spiritual awakening, and eternal restoration for souls choosing genuine spiritual clarity, humility, and authentic compassion. I asked Jesus one more heartfelt question clearly. "Lord, what about those who experience suffering and never find healing or peace during earthly life?" His compassionate eyes gently reassured me as he lovingly replied clearly, "Lily, earthly suffering, though profoundly heartbreaking, is temporary. Every soul experiencing pain, illness, tragedy, or suffering will ultimately experience perfect eternal healing, infinite comfort, everlasting peace, and eternal restoration far beyond earthly understanding. No suffering is permanent or hopeless. Every hurting heart will eternally experience profound restoration, infinite joy, and perfect peace within my eternal presence." He gently emphasized clearly that earthly suffering wasn't final. Every hurting soul would eternally experience perfect healing, infinite comfort, everlasting peace, and profound restoration within eternity. He lovingly assured me clearly, "Earthly pain, tragedy, or suffering isn't permanent. Every hurting soul will eternally experience infinite comfort, everlasting joy, perfect restoration, and eternal unity far beyond earthly understanding. Humanity's ultimate destiny isn't suffering, it's infinite joy, eternal peace, and perfect restoration within my compassionate, eternal presence." Standing before him, my heart overflowed with profound comfort and infinite gratitude, clearly understanding that suffering, though deeply painful, wasn't humanity's ultimate destiny. It profoundly offered powerful invitations toward compassion, humility, genuine spiritual awakening, and eternal restoration far beyond human understanding. As my extraordinary time with Jesus began coming to an end, my heart was profoundly transformed by everything he had lovingly shared about suffering. Standing before him, deeply comforted and spiritually awakened, I asked one final question clearly. "Lord, what is the most important message you want humanity to understand about suffering?" Jesus gently and lovingly replied with infinite compassion clearly shining in his eyes, "Lily, tell humanity clearly. Suffering isn't meaningless, hopeless, or final. It profoundly invites souls toward deeper compassion, humility, genuine spiritual awakening, and eternal restoration. Though deeply painful, suffering powerfully reveals humanity's need for authentic spiritual connection, genuine compassion, forgiveness, and profound eternal peace. Remind humanity clearly, I am intimately present during suffering, quietly offering infinite comfort, profound healing, genuine spiritual clarity, and eternal restoration to every hurting soul." His compassionate words deeply impacted my heart, clearly revealing suffering's profound spiritual purposes. Humanity, though deeply troubled by pain or tragedy, ultimately experienced profound spiritual awakening, compassion, forgiveness, and eternal restoration clearly available within his compassionate presence. He gently continued, lovingly urging me clearly, "Remind humanity, genuine compassion profoundly heals suffering's deepest wounds. Quiet acts of sincere kindness, humility, forgiveness, and authentic empathy powerfully transform hurting hearts, eternally restoring souls toward infinite comfort, genuine joy, and eternal peace. Encourage humanity clearly toward compassionate responses, authentic empathy, practical care, patient listening, and genuine spiritual connection toward hurting souls. Listening carefully, I deeply understood humanity's profound responsibility toward compassionate responses. Quiet acts of genuine kindness profoundly transforming suffering toward eternal restoration, spiritual awakening, and infinite peace. Jesus lovingly reassured me clearly. Though earthly suffering deeply impacts humanity, every hurting soul will eternally experience infinite joy, perfect restoration, everlasting comfort, and profound eternal peace far beyond earthly understanding. Earthly pain isn't humanity's eternal destiny. Eternal restoration, infinite joy, and perfect peace clearly await every soul genuinely seeking spiritual connection, forgiveness, compassion, and eternal truth. His compassionate words profoundly comforted my heart, clearly understanding that suffering, though deeply troubling, wasn't meaningless, hopeless, or eternal. Every hurting soul ultimately experienced profound eternal restoration, infinite comfort, everlasting joy, and perfect peace clearly awaiting within his compassionate eternal presence. Suddenly, I gently felt myself slowly returning back toward earth, departing peacefully from Jesus' comforting presence. Before leaving completely, he lovingly reassured me clearly once again. Lily, courageously share your experience clearly, compassionately, and lovingly. Your testimony will profoundly impact countless souls, clearly offering genuine hope, profound comfort, infinite compassion, and eternal truth to countless hurting hearts, deeply questioning suffering's mysteries. Instantly, I awoke back in my earthly body, lying in a hospital bed, gasping deeply as doctors and nurses immediately surrounded me, deeply relieved yet profoundly amazed by my unexpected return to life. Doctors later explained clearly that I had clinically died briefly, my survival medically unexplainable, clearly and undeniably a miraculous event. Over the following days, weeks, and eventually months, I openly shared my powerful testimony clearly, compassionately, and courageously with family, friends, and eventually others worldwide. Many initially responded skeptically, misunderstanding or doubting my incredible experience. Yet as I continued clearly, lovingly, and genuinely sharing my story, countless individuals worldwide profoundly experienced genuine comfort, spiritual awakening, compassionate reassurance, and powerful healing from suffering's deepest mysteries. My testimony quickly became widely shared, clearly impacting countless souls worldwide profoundly troubled by suffering's heartbreaking realities. Families experiencing grief, illness, tragedy, or loss clearly found genuine comfort, reassurance, spiritual awakening, and profound eternal hope through my powerful testimony. Individuals deeply questioning God's goodness or existence due to suffering experienced powerful spiritual awakenings, clearly reconnecting genuinely with God's infinite compassion, eternal truth, profound forgiveness, and genuine spiritual clarity. Sharing my testimony openly wasn't always easy. I occasionally experienced harsh criticism, skepticism, misunderstanding, or rejection from individuals unable or unwilling to clearly embrace spiritual truths. Yet, through everything, I courageously remembered Jesus' gentle encouragement, clearly urging me toward compassionate courage, genuine humility, patient love, and truthful clarity within my testimony, far more profoundly important than fear of rejection or misunderstanding. Today, clearly reflecting back upon my extraordinary journey, my heart profoundly fills with infinite gratitude, compassionate clarity, eternal peace, and genuine spiritual awakening. I clearly understand that suffering, though deeply heartbreaking, isn't meaningless, hopeless, or eternal. It profoundly invites humanity clearly toward genuine compassion, spiritual awakening, infinite forgiveness, and eternal restoration far beyond earthly understanding. To anyone clearly hearing my powerful testimony today, especially individuals currently experiencing grief, illness, loss, tragedy, or suffering, please clearly understand you're infinitely loved, deeply valued, and eternally invited toward genuine spiritual comfort, infinite compassion, profound forgiveness, and eternal peace. You're not alone during suffering. God's compassionate presence profoundly surrounds you, quietly offering infinite comfort, profound clarity, genuine healing, and eternal restoration toward perfect peace far beyond earthly understanding. If you're currently feeling deeply fearful, confused, spiritually disconnected, or profoundly questioning suffering's mysteries, please sincerely, courageously, and openly seek God clearly within your heart. Ask Him sincerely, openly, humbly, and genuinely to clearly reveal Himself compassionately to you, offering profound comfort, eternal forgiveness, infinite compassion, and genuine spiritual clarity during your suffering. I promise clearly, based profoundly upon my incredible personal experience. Anyone genuinely, openly, and humbly seeking spiritual connection, infinite compassion, genuine forgiveness, and eternal clarity clearly finds profound comfort, powerful healing, and everlasting peace abundantly available through God's compassionate, unconditional love. Finally, clearly remember always, earthly suffering, though profoundly heartbreaking, isn't humanity's eternal destiny. Your true destiny, clearly awaiting every hurting soul, is infinite compassion, eternal peace, perfect restoration, everlasting joy, and genuine spiritual connection, profoundly available within God's compassionate, eternal presence. Thank you profoundly and sincerely for clearly allowing me to courageously share my powerful testimony, profoundly revealing suffering's deepest mysteries compassionately, clearly, and eternally. Wherever you clearly find yourself spiritually today, profoundly understand you're infinitely loved, deeply valued, and eternally invited toward profound eternal restoration, infinite compassion, everlasting peace, and genuine spiritual connection clearly available through God's unconditional love. May your life profoundly overflow clearly with genuine compassion, infinite comfort, profound forgiveness, courageous clarity, and eternal peace, clearly experiencing firsthand God's infinite compassion, genuine forgiveness, profound spiritual awakening, and eternal restoration abundantly available to every soul. Thank you profoundly, clearly, and eternally, and may God bless you infinitely, abundantly, and compassionately always.